take your position. Rise up, make that decision. God will provide all your needs. He wants you to succeed. Have faith of a mustard seed. Get up on your feet. Rise up.
Welcome to another segment of the Turks and Caicos show. I think today this show will be a very interesting show, particularly for men. Because one thing that we lack is, or one thing that we do not do, is to get a medical checkup. I think we find that women seem to do that more than men. I'm not sure why. And it's important that you get this medical checkup. It's important that you be educated about health. And so we have today two representatives here from the 100 Black Men who will educate us about the health aspect, why it's important for you to know about your health, and what can you do to improve your health, or even, avoid getting into some trouble, because, what your actions will lead to some negative consequences. And if you could avoid it, you should be able to avoid it. And so today it's my pleasure to have two gentlemen. I'll ask them to introduce themselves. I don't want to mess up anybody's name. So I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, please, and to share their background to you, the viewers, who they are.
Well, I'm Will Mason. I'm the chairman for the Health and Wellness Committee for the 100 Black Men for Turks and Caicos chapter. And I'm in hospitality. I think mostly everyone probably know me that. But really with the 100 Black Men and do a lot of mentoring. But today we're just going to really focus on health and wellness event that we'll be having in June, starting on Father's Day. So, but we're here with Dr. Eric Griggs, who will tell us more about what's going to happen. We are organizing this event in collaboration with the Minister of Health and the health promotion team, who's working to make sure that this is successful for all of us in Turks and Caicos.
My name is Dr. Eric Griggs. I am a community medicine director for a system of clinics in the United States. I'm also a health educator for the local Fox affiliate. I'm a member of the 100 Black Men of America's National and International Health and Wellness Committee. And I'm here, community medicine. What is community medicine? Everyone's like, yeah.
I know.
They nod their head like, yeah, I know what that is. No, you don't. Community medicine is exactly that. It's people, policy, practice, and public health. But most importantly, it's 100% community and 100% medicine, meeting people where they are to help find solutions for the community in the community first. So when it's time for the policy, it's practical and people can fully understand their health and the policies that govern them.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your introduction. So tell us about before we get into the meat of the conversation about the 100 Black Men, you mentioned that there are four pillars. Yeah, the 100 Black Men of America is, our organization was started in 1963 with the premise of 100 men, 100 Black men, to help lead our community to the next generation and success. Our four pillars are, I want you to do it with, say me. Me. You say me.
Me.
He.
He.
You point to him. Point to you. Me. me. He. It's a responsibility thing, right? Me. I'm reporting for you. I'm responsible for you. You're responsible for me. I am my brother's keeper. Those also represent our four pillars: mentorship, economic empowerment, health and wellness, and education. Me. He. And I happen to be a part of the health and wellness component and trying to have a large voice to make a difference in each of our communities and support our chapters. So tell us about the health and wellness program. Tell us about that. I mean, what is the objective of it? How do you plan to roll it out here? So the interesting thing, what I'd like to start with first is I'd like to address the similarities as Black men between the United States and here. Yes. In the United States, the average man lives 7 years less than our female counterparts. Really? Yeah. So here in Turks and Caicos, I just so happened, because of some STEM stuff that Mackenzie, Missick, and Dr. Mackey showed me, I used Google and I looked up the average woman lives here to about 82.6. The average man lives at 76. There's a 6-year difference. So one thing I don't do is I don't pretty things up. I address it very candidly. So are each of us as men willing to pick out our wives' next husband? There's no medical reason that we live 6 years here on this island that they live in 6 years less than our wives. Now that, I bring it hard so people can start the understanding, because it's all a joke until it's not. Yeah, for real. Yeah, so what we're trying to do is based on that, bring the conversations about health, medicine, and the community from the doctor's office, which we avoid, to the dominoes game. To that, just like we watch.
So make it like an everyday part of your life.
Exactly, because we make a joke. I'm interested and I'm pleased. Most of the time when I tell people I'm a doctor, here and in the States, I shake their hands and they look at my hands and go, no, doc, if your finger's too big. No, you can't do no exam on me. And it's funny, again, until it's not, because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Most people go to the doctor, especially as men. We shake our head like this, as though we understand it. We don't.
Yeah. We don't. And so that's what we want to do. We want to encourage men to look after their health.
We want to encourage men to look after their health, because a large part of the reason and the issue is that it's a different life for little boys and little girls that grow into men and women when it comes to a relationship with a doctor. When a young lady becomes a woman, they start their wellness visits. They go once a year for their annual checkup. There's usually nothing wrong. It's uncomfortable, but they can have comfortable conversations about life. And it becomes something that they can learn to talk about openly. Well, including myself, as a little boy, I only went to the doctor for shots, when I'd broken my arm, when I had an asthma attack, when it was time to get shots to go to college, play sports. It was always something bad.
Something you had, yeah. It's like a requirement.
Exactly.
You had for something.
And all of us said that when we turned 18, as soon as I get old enough to go to the doctor, I ain't never doing it again. And we don't.
You're absolutely right.
Because it's never a good conversation, because by the time you turn 30 and things start going wrong, it's bad news. And of course, it's not us. The doctor doesn't know what he's talking about. So we wait again. We go at 40. And by that time, we have less weight in our chest than we do in our stomach. And the hypertension and the diabetes and the bad things really come. And we just think we're going to take a nap. We can take a drink. We can laugh and it'll go away. And sadly, we go away before the affliction.
So why do you think we act like that? Why do you think we don't want to go to get a medical checkup? What is, based on your experience, what do you think the problem is?
Based on my experience and what I just described, because it's never a good experience.
Because it's not a good, okay.
It's fearful. When you go to the doctor, the first thing you think about is something bad's going to happen. And then you go to the doctor and they say that you have hypertension. They say you have diabetes mellitus type 2. They say you have hypercholesterolemia. And rather than answer a question, we don't want to embarrass ourselves, because as men, I don't want to seem like I don't know. And we do this.
We'd rather not know.
Yeah, we'd rather not. We say we'd rather not know until it's time. A lot of times it's too late. So it's education and it's stepping into the fear, and that's conversations. I feel much more comfortable going to the doctor and experiencing something if you can tell me, I just did that. I'll go with you, or let's talk about it. So,
I got it. So that's why it's important for us to have this conversation with each other, no matter where we are, to encourage people that it's important.
All of us have been in situations where we have to confront something and we have no idea. And then all of a sudden, someone will come along, a friend, and be like, hey, man, it's going to be fine. I'll go with you, or I just did it yesterday. We always feel better when we're not alone. And that's the purpose of what we're doing, and that's the purpose of our event, and that's the purpose of us as the 100 here on this island and in the States, is to lead the conversations and to let you know you're not alone. We're all afraid. Listen, I'm going to tell you something really honest. If you want to be really honest, it's no fun for us to do that finger exam either, as a doctor. I mean, who wants to do that every day?
I know, right?
That's not fun, but it's necessary.
Right.
And if I have to do it as well, the rain falls on all of us, and it makes it much easier to bear.
Yeah. And I think that's very important, because a lot of times we tend to, we have these events like maybe once a year. And I like the point that you stressed, that we need to have it as part of our conversations on a regular basis. Because sometimes we get excited after once a year, and then it goes away. But the fact that you are trying to, change our mindset and our culture into having this conversation on a regular basis will make a lot of difference. It could save someone's lives, actually.
That's why we came down as our national committee, and we came down and we met with Will and the members here about what would be the best way to reach everything. Every community is different. Each island has a different community. Each island has a different need. Each island has different conversation. So we're here to support the event and help them lead off and support whatever they'll do moving forward, because the sustainability, like I said, the answers for the community are in the community, and the sustainability isn't going to come from me. Yeah. It's going to come from our brothers here, and we help lead them. They have an army behind them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how often should men get a checkup?
Interesting. That it depends on your age.
Okay.
Up until age 25 or 30, men, we feel like we're invincible, and genetically, we kind of are, in a sense that the genes for the downfall, I'll say, we don't peak in life until about age 30. And then your testosterone levels start to go down. We're less active because we have wives, jobs, families, and habits that we acquire. And as such, we should always go. You should at least go, starting about age 25, go to the doctor at least once a year. Up to age 25 or 30, you should test for testicular cancer, which is something that we don't want to talk about.
Test for what?
Testicular cancer. It's something that's very serious. There's a testicular exam that you need to talk about doing, and nobody you don't want to talk about that, but it's something that can kill. I know someone, I have a friend, two friends actually in the last 2 years that have had to have surgery to treat it. So it's something that you should talk to your doctor about. I think at least once a year, you should always go to the doctor. Then after that, you definitely want to have at least an annual exam, and then more frequently as dictated by your healthcare provider. But the most important thing prior to that, now, that's a good question. How often should men go to the doctor? A better question is, how often should men talk about their health to be ready to go to the doctor? Because the doctor is there, but you're the head coach in the doctor's office. He can only address as much as you tell him, as much as you understand.
What are some of the main diseases or illnesses that affect man, that is common among men, or there isn't really? No,
there are, but I'd like to talk more. I'd like to let's centralize it here in Turks and Caicos. What are some of the main ones here, and I'll tell you the ones that
okay.
I think from our discussion with the nurses and the different clinics,
and the Minister of Health,
hypertension, diabetes, and I think there was a mention of I guess lots of drinking and all of that. So I mean, alcoholism and some of the items.
Do a lot of that.
Yeah. So and those are some of the. I mean, we spoke with a physician who basically said, look, in this one particular island, there's some serious needs that we, the 100, work with the Ministry of Health, going to make sure we bring in that support for that particular island.
Yeah, if you think about, when you want to think about issues that affect men, you want to think of issues of low resources, high resources, and body decline, right? And genetics, right? When in our history, we weren't able to work from can't to can't see in the morning to can't see at night, and didn't have a mechanism to keep your blood pressure up and your blood sugar up, you died. And as long as we were out working and there was less technology, I love my STEM, and we have to be able to exercise around our STEM. But as long as you were working, the body was functional. Our bodies were made to move. If you look or talk to your ancestors, your grandparents and great-grandparents, you notice that they were thin and they were fit, but they didn't eat in excess. The problem, one of the problems that we run into is the fact that we have a lot of access to food. We can eat, between meals. We can eat while we're driving. We can eat while we're eating. And on some of us, it shows. Don't laugh at me. It shows. But diseases of excess, hypertension, diabetes, obesity, cholesterol, and one that we don't talk about. You want to talk about something that we don't talk about is mental health.
Oh, yeah.
There's not, even though the first three letters are MEN, men will not, how are you? I'm fine. You're good? Yeah, I'm good. Even though things can be bad. So just, again, normalizing conversations about health and looking at our brothers and our sisters and are you okay? And talking about it. There's nothing wrong with having a bad day and talking about it.
Yeah, I think, there's an element of lack of trust as well. People don't talk about it. There's so much stigma, not only with mental health, even me, so I've been in the house for like almost 5 years now. And I was embarrassed about it. I didn't want to talk about it. Because there's so much stigma when you're being diagnosed with some sort of illnesses. And I think we have to get away from that and just talk about it. Because you could even help somebody else.
Well, and most importantly is because even though I might have an MD and be a doctor, I'm not an expert on dialysis. You are. You are the leading expert because you're going through it. And the way to erase stigma is to address it. First, they call you crazy. Then they laugh at you. Then they question you. But ultimately, they follow you because they can trust you, right? So it's, again, normalizing the conversation. How did you get to dialysis? What conditions did you have? How do you feel now? How normal is your life? Those are the common questions that once the ice is broken, it becomes, the stigma just goes away.
Absolutely. So going forward, I know you have an event in June. Tell us about the upcoming event in June.
Well, yes, the event in June starts on Father's Day. We have a big event at the gymnasium downtown, and we have a couple of surprises as well, so we really want all the men to come out. We have several doctors. You want to talk about some of the doctors that will be here?
Yeah, we do. We have a cardiovascular surgeon. We have an emergency room doc. We have some foot doctors for foot exams. We have this fully engaged support system of resources to talk about whatever is necessary to support the community. Mm-hmm. But we don't want to run people away with thinking that they're going to come. There'll be no.
So there'll be nothing practical. It'll be more.
No, there'll be screenings.
There'll be screenings.
But we will not be using the finger in these exams. So it's safe to come out. It's very safe to come out. And the only finger you might see is me pointing at somebody because I'm beating them in dominoes or something. None of that.
Yeah. If you use your finger, it's best to find out anyway.
Right, but this won't.
So you wouldn't be doing that. That's basically saying.
There'll be other methods of
the blood pressure screenings, diabetes screenings, foot exams, cholesterol exams. We're working on getting a rapid PSA, so you can test your prostate with and get your results instantly. We're working on that. Again, but we want people to come out and have fun in the way that you have fun and walk away feeling empowered and smiling, so that our brothers down here can really get the people out to do more and make a change. Oh, the other thing, the big thing, the High-Functioning Society, Dr. Mackey taught me, is child-centered, adult-governed, and elderly ruled, which means that if the functioning societies, everyone focuses on the kids, right? If you want to get an adult's attention, start talking to their child. So what we've done is we've connected with our vice president here of our chapter, Mackenzie Messick, who has founded a STEM program here.
Yes.
Introducing the kids to science, technology, engineering, and math. And we're bringing our resources, Dr. Calvin Mackey with STEM NOLA, STEM Global Action, to help support that, and to have the kids come out, heart dissections, build hearts, build lungs, talk about the conditions that affect the heart and the lungs, and help lead the adults and contribute to the conversations with activities that will take place that day. It looks to be a day of very well-supported education and fun, and hopefully people will be better on the other end.
Well, hopefully.
And that will happen on North Caicos, South Caicos, Grand Turk, and of course Providence.
So you're on all of the main islands then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up?
I just want everyone to really come out and support this initiative, because I think it's really something. I always think that there are two things really can help our communities: education and health. And that's what we really focus on: STEM and the men's health. And I think if we could really come out and support this event, we're going to change the narrative of what's happening in Turks and Caicos. So I'm asking everyone to come out and support this initiative by the Minister of Health, 100 Black Men, and the health promotion team as well.
Doc?
Have the conversations about your health. We look forward to coming down and starting this, helping in whatever way it is we can. And a real man talks about his health. And I say that, and remember, the only time I'm using my finger is when I'm beating you in dominoes.
Okay, well, I'm not sure about beating you in dominoes, but well, anyway, you've been watching the Turks and Will Mason show. You know, there's a saying which is very true: the health of your nation is the wealth of your nation. I truly believe that. And we need to maintain our health. And I really didn't know about the stats, to be honest with you, that we have a 6-year gap between the average life of a man versus the average life of a woman here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. That's very, very interesting. But that gap could, we could close that gap if we maintain our health, I believe. Because most people, I believe, who are dying perhaps are health-related. But we could close that gap. So we need to know your health. So I encourage you to know your health. Take this interview seriously and don't be afraid to talk about your health. Like me, I was afraid, but I'm no longer afraid, because I realized that, what I'm going through, I can help somebody else as well. And we can't be selfish. We can't keep our sickness to ourselves. Talk about it. And you could help somebody else from even going to that point where you are going through right now. So thank you for watching the show. Remember to subscribe. Thank you very much.